Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Criterion Connection. I'm Wade,
And I'm Joe.
and I want to apologize ahead of time that I am very nasally. I'm recovering from a cold, hence why this episode's a little delayed. But so if you hear me sound very congested, that's why. Joe sounds normal. Um,
You be the judge.
but anyway, we're talking about a 1948 film. It's a dance musical, not really musical, but
It's a
drama.
it's a classic Powell and Pressburger film, or The Archers, as they used to be known.
Yes. It's called The Red Shoes. This is a movie that's been coming up on the kind of like the Criterion movies you gotta watch.
It's one of the top 10 greatest movies, apparently.
Yeah. So we finally are doing it. It took over 200 episodes, but here we are. We're doing it, and it is from 1948.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I saw one person call it Technicolor the movie. Fair, because it's very Technicolor.
I can see it.
Yeah, it's basically about this dancer, ballerina dancer, and not just about her, but it's also about other people that contribute to that, whether it be the composer or even the dance instructor, stuff like that.
I consider it a three main characters. You have Lermontov, who's the guy who runs the ballet. I guess he's like a director or producer.
Yeah.
Then you have Victoria, who's the ballerina. And then you have Julian Craster, who's the composer. And as much as I want to complain about the kind of slower beginning and how, like, this movie's over 2 hours long.
2 hours and 14 minutes, to be exact, yeah.
It works, though.
Yeah.
It sets things up. You go to the ballet, they have this reverence for Lermontov, and it's this big opening show. Julian Craster's there because he wants to support his professor, who he finds out steals a whole bunch of his music for this ballet. And then afterwards, the after party is where Victoria Page is introduced. So it's kind of like this great setup. And then you kind of follow kind of the trials and tribulations of like Victoria trying to break in as a ballerina, and dealing with being in that machine. And then Julian kind of being brought in as a deputy conductor and working his way up, and Lermontov kind of recognizing the talents he has there. And that's kind of the mark of a great producer or director, like being able to figure out like that guy's really good at this guy, this person's really good at this. Yeah, because he's got a great choreographer in Lubov. He's got this elderly set designer that I can't remember his name. I remember it's Sergei.
Yeah, it's Sergei.
And finding Victoria Page, who turns out to be a big talent for him, and then finding Julian Craster and dumping his professor, which I think is great. Yeah, it's a really interesting story, and it's kind of like it's like a meta narrative almost, like from the 40s, where the movie's called The Red Shoes because it's about this ballet company that wants to do an adaptation of the Red Shoes Hans Christian Andersen fable or fairy tale. And what happens in the movie is very tied to what happens in the fairy tale.
Yes.
And it's it's just a really interesting way to do that. I love a lot of the shots.
Oh yeah. The cinematography in this is fantastic.
Yeah, the ones that always get me are the newspaper floating.
Yeah.
And just kind of the blocking, how they have everybody move through the scenes. Like it's really well
and they
done.
take their time to where they even show you the whole pieces of ballerina dances, and they show you the whole thing. They're not like, oh, here's a little snippet.
Yeah, they do the whole
as the audience.
Yeah,
viewing it, not like, oh, we got that, like the inner monologue of them, doing their thing. No, it's just
you might get a quick cut of say Victoria coming out and then doing a costume change, and then they cut right back to the ballet, and then her coming back in. they're showing like the whole piece.
And there's also elements of like, and then you see in the movie, other movies, you know, people think, you know, Black Swan or something like that. You'll think other movies like Living in Oblivion, or just anything where like, even like a sports movie where like, it's the obsession of like the grind or being a perfectionist or art, fighting for your art to where would you sacrifice everything for that art? Will it consume you and cause you to self-destruct?
Exactly. And it's such a great...
And it's not just with Vicky or Victoria, it's also with other characters like Julian and Lermontov. It's hard to say his name sometimes. They have like this kind of, and also there's the idea of she is kind of like, it's kind of a love triangle a little bit, where it's either love or her career, and she can't choose both apparently, which is like that's unfair. Maybe that's saying something about how women are back then, not in the 40s.
Spoilers a little bit with some of that, but to go further, it's like a weird, because her and Julian fall in love. She loves her career in dancing. Lermontov loves her and sees Julian as, you know, the competition, so he gets rid of him. And then because of that, Julian's like, well, fine, I'll get a job back in London. She goes with Julian because she loves him.
And at the end of the day...
And then he goes back and tempts her to come back to dance.
And his obsession with her kind of makes his work crumble.
Yep.
It's a very tight rope with these three characters, and just like how important every little piece can be to your puzzle.
It's incredibly well done.
And it hits, and the ending hits you like,
yeah. So a little behind the curtain. I knew Wade was watching it, and I had already seen it by this point, and he's like, yeah, I still got to finish it, and I'm like, the ending's gonna get you, bro.
I was not expecting it.
And that ending is... It's something.
For 1948, it was...
Yeah, you're like, oh, we're going there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Just to add on, being a ballet movie, it's hard to be like, I'm not really into that. I'm not big into the ballet. Like, I respect dancing and ballet, but I don't know much about it.
I've gotten a little bit more into it because my girlfriend's a dance teacher, so that's I kind of gotten a little bit more into.
Yeah, I don't
part of that.
Yeah, I don't have that much of a background with it, so like, you come in cold to something, you're just like, I'm not really into that, and you wonder if you're gonna be into the movie, but it's wonderful. It's a great movie.
It's not just about ballet. It's about just, I feel like if you're an artist in general,
you know, with you get invested in all the different characters and kind of where their perspectives are. It's really awesome.
I mean, Joe, I think it's surprisingly this is a very short episode.
Yeah.
It's a great episode. It's a great movie, but it's like it's a short episode because it's like it's kind of like we don't want to say too much.
Yeah.
We want you to experience it for yourself. But saying that, would you recommend this film to the general audience?
I would. I would recommend it. Even like not just our, you know, cinephile hardcore audience, but like a general person like on the street, I'd be like, yeah, you should check that movie out.
Yeah.
It's older, it's old fashioned, but it's a great movie. You can definitely follow it.
It starts slow, but it does pick up to where you get it somehow tricks you into like, you're like, oh, okay, I don't really vibe on this movie, but somehow you get compelled and you get to like, you kind of like want to know where these characters go, to where not tricky, more enticing you, and then you just kind of fall into the web.
I'm so invested. I want to know where Grisha got that giant champagne bottle.
Oh yeah. Let us know in the comment section below where she got it, or is there a fan theory on where she got it? Probably not. We're the only ones bringing it up.
I the birthday party with Grisha's giant. It's a custom one too. It's like Chateau de Grisha. I was like, what?
So that's our thoughts on Red Shoes. Let us know in the comment section below what you think about the film. Is there any other like dance or ballet or music kind of movie that's on the Criterion collection. I'm sure we're missing some.
I know of one that we should end up doing,
Which
and
one?
I'll tell you about it
Off camera.
off camera.
Okay. So yeah, like, subscribe, share, follow us on Instagram, Condish Productions. We're heading to the new year, so definitely hit a lot of suggestions. A lot of them. It's a new year. It's new suggestions, new videos, all that stuff.
New year, new movies.
Yep. So until next time, I'm Wade.
And I'm still Joe.
And we'll see you later.